The voice note arrived in the quiet space between two signatures. I sat at the head of a walnut conference table, my pen hovering above the final page of an acquisition agreement, when my phone buzzed with a name that still tasted like old bruises. Bianca Hart. I tapped play. Her voice spilled out, bright and poisonous. Maren, you should not feel offended. People invite you out of pity, not pride. You are the charity cousin, not the cornerstone. I am only saying it because I love you. Also, do not show up to the Hartwell Centennial Gala. We are keeping it polished. In the background I heard laughter. A familiar laugh, too. My father, Victor Hart, chuckling like cruelty was a clever party trick. The room around me remained calm. My legal counsel waited. My chief of operations, Elise Wren, watched my face like she could hear the message through my silence. On the page beneath my hand, the name of the property I was about to buy sat in bold print. The Glass House Atrium. The venue for Bianca Hart event. I looked up at Elise. Confirm something. Elise slid her tablet closer. The gala booking came through a concierge channel. Client listed as Hartwell Heritage Circle. Contact is Bianca Hart. Deposit cleared. Under what ownership record? Elise hesitated, then smiled in the way she did when a plan snapped into place. The Glasshouse Atrium is held by an umbrella entity called Cinder and Cove Holdings. That is one of ours. I nodded slowly. And the acquisition paperwork? My counsel cleared his throat. Once you sign, Oraline Hospitality Collective will own the full property group. Staff, systems, everything. I glanced at my phone, still lit with Bianca name. Wonderful. Elise raised one brow. Do you want to cancel their event? No. I set the phone down as if it had never touched my life. I want them to arrive early evening, dressed in their finest, and feel important for a full hour. My counsel blinked. That sounds expensive. It is, I said. Let them enjoy every unpaid debt. I signed the final page. The pen stroke was simple. The meaning was not. An hour later, I stood alone in my office, looking at the skyline through glass that cost more than our childhood house ever did. Bianca used to call that house humble. Victor used to call it character building. I called it the place where I learned to stay quiet while other people practiced stepping on me. I remembered a holiday dinner from years ago. Bianca had lifted her wineglass and announced, loud enough for the entire table, that my scholarship was proof that strangers thought I was worth saving. Then she added softly that my own family did not need to pretend. Victor had laughed then too. I picked up my phone and called Rafe Calder, head of guest relations at the Glass House Atrium. Maren Cole, I said. His tone shifted instantly. Ms. Cole, congratulations on the acquisition. Thank you. Listen carefully. The Hartwell Centennial Gala remains as scheduled. Nothing is to change that would tip them off. Understood. But I want adjustments that feel like luxury, not sabotage. I opened my laptop and pulled up the event dashboard. Upgrade the scent program, replace the string quartet with a modern brass ensemble, increase valet rates, add a premium service fee called the Heritage Handling Package. Rafe made a small sound of admiration. That is wicked. That is accounting. I clicked into the seating chart. Also, revise the seating. Make sure Bianca is placed where the spotlight hits best. And you? I smiled, eyes on the blank space at the front of the room. Save me a microphone. When the call ended, Elise appeared at my door with a thin folder. What is that? I asked. Eliminate the guesswork, she replied. A background sweep on the Hartwell Heritage Circle. Their finances are a theater performance with no safety rails. I flipped the pages. Misreported donations. Inflated vendor invoices. A quiet trail of funds that moved like a thief through polite society. I closed the folder. Bianca wanted polished. Early morning, I had signed ownership. Early evening, I would sign revenge. And this time, my family would not be laughing in the background. I arrived at the glasshouse atrium early morning, when the building still smelled like fresh linen and unbothered ambition. The atrium was a cathedral made of light, steel, and arrogance. Bianca adored places like this, because she could borrow their shine and pretend it had always belonged to her. She would glide under the glass ceiling later, waving at donors like she had personally invented generosity. I walked the floor with Elise and Rafe, checking every detail Bianca believed she controlled. The brass ensemble warmed up behind a velvet curtain. The floral installations rose like sculpted storms. The scent system pulsed softly through hidden vents, a blend Elise had developed for our flagship properties: bergamot, smoked cedar, and something sharp that reminded people of consequences. Rafe handed me a printed program. Her welcome speech is scheduled early evening. I want it to begin, I said, and then I want it to be interrupted by the truth. Elise tapped her tablet. We can route the main screens to your feed. Good. I paused near the stage where a massive display wall waited behind a translucent veil. Also, I want the staff trained on one phrase. Rafe tilted his head. Which phrase? I looked at him. The owner has requested a brief update. Elise laughed once, quick and quiet. That will land like a chandelier. An hour later, we moved to the second-floor lounge that served as our control suite. Security monitors lined the wall. A private bar sat untouched. On the table, Elise placed a stack of slim black folios, each sealed with a silver emblem, the Oraline starburst. Press packets? I asked. And receipts, Elise said. Custom invoices for the heritage handling package. Itemized, painful, beautiful. I opened one folio. The first page was an invoice addressed to Hartwell Heritage Circle with a total that would make Bianca blink hard enough to dislodge an eyelash extension. The second page was my biography, clean and unflinching. The third page was a set of financial exhibits tied to the foundation, arranged like a polite noose. Elise leaned closer. Do you want legal to be present? I want legal to be calm, I replied. And I want Bianca to be loud. Rafe cleared his throat. Your father is on the guest list. I know. He hesitated. Are you sure you want this public? I thought of Bianca's voice note. People invite you out of pity, not pride. I thought of Victor's laugh. I thought of all the years I swallowed my answers to keep the peace that never kept me. This is not public, I said. This is targeted. Elise checked a second tablet and turned it toward me. We also found something else. Bianca submitted an application to partner with Oraline for a so-called legacy sponsorship. She claimed she had authorization from a family representative. I stared at the screen. Bianca's signature sat at the bottom of a proposal that described my company as a philanthropic accessory. She tried to use us, Elise said. She tried to use me, I corrected. A staff coordinator approached with a clipboard, nerves tucked behind a professional smile. Excuse me, Miss Wren. The client requested a last-minute change. She wants a private photo corridor labeled the Hartwell Hall of Honor. Elise glanced at me, waiting. I took the clipboard gently. Tell her yes, I said. Tell her we will place it in the most visible area. The coordinator looked relieved. She also asked if the owner could be kept out of sight. She said owners can make donors feel watched. I smiled without warmth. The owner will be very discreet. When the coordinator left, Elise studied me. You are enjoying this. I am respecting the craft, I said. Bianca built her identity on being unchallenged. I am about to introduce her to opposition. Early evening approached with the slow inevitability of weather. On the monitors, guests began arriving. Designer gowns, overconfident smiles, people who believed money was the same thing as merit. Then Bianca stepped into view, radiant and rehearsed, posing beneath the atrium entrance arch as if she had personally commissioned the sky. Victor followed, looking pleased with himself, like he had raised a winner. Elise leaned in. Your cue is ready. I touched the control panel that would lift the veil on the screen behind the stage. One more thing, I said. Rafe looked up. Make sure Bianca receives her folio first. Elise nodded. Of course. I watched Bianca on the monitor. She laughed, waving at a cluster of donors, soaking up the attention like it was oxygen. I spoke softly, to no one and everyone. Breathe it in, Bianca. You are about to learn what it costs. The atrium buzzed with the confidence of people who had never been corrected. I entered through a side corridor, moving behind the scenes while Bianca held court on the main floor. Her voice carried across the room in bright bursts of charm, punctuated by little jokes designed to remind everyone she belonged at the center. I stood in the shadowed aisle near the service station, unseen, listening. Bianca clinked her glass and began her welcome speech early evening, smiling wide. Thank you for attending the Hartwell Centennial Gala, a night honoring legacy and leadership. Legacy. Leadership. She said those words like they were inherited traits. A moment later, the general manager of the glasshouse atrium stepped up beside her, expression composed. He spoke into his microphone. Apologies for the interruption. The owner has requested a brief update. Bianca blinked, her smile tightening. The owner? Murmurs drifted. People turned their heads, curious, mildly annoyed, as if truth was an inconvenience. That was my cue. I stepped into the light. Conversations thinned. A few champagne flutes paused midair. Bianca stared at me like I was a ghost with a bank account. Victor's face shifted, a slow, dawning recognition he did not want. I walked forward, heels steady, posture calm. Not a march, not a plea, an arrival. Bianca laughed once, sharp and uncertain. Maren, what are you doing here? I am hosting, I said. The general manager gestured toward the stage, as if he had been waiting for my existence his whole life. I stepped up, took the microphone, and looked out across the room. Behind me, Elise triggered the display wall. The translucent veil lifted. A clean white screen appeared, then black lettering. The Glasshouse Atrium, operated by Orlean Hospitality Collective. Owner, Maren Cole. Silence snapped into place. Somewhere near the center, a glass slipped from a hand and shattered. The sound was sharp, honest, and satisfying. Bianca's face drained, then flushed again, like her body could not decide between fear and rage. This is a joke. It is documentation, I replied. I did not raise my voice. I did not need to. The room had given me its full attention, the way it always does when power finally reveals itself. I want to thank you for attending, I continued. Tonight celebrates legacy, yes. It also celebrates accuracy. Elise signaled from the side. Uniformed staff moved through the crowd with black folios, placing one into Bianca's hands, then into Victor's, then into the hands of the foundation board members, who had smiled politely at my childhood and dismissed my adulthood. Bianca tore hers open, eyes darting over the first page. Her breath caught. Victor opened his and went still. I watched them read. The invoice for the heritage handling package sat on top, itemized with quiet cruelty. Premium service fees, valet multipliers, specialized scent programming, display wall licensing. A donation matching add-on Bianca had requested without understanding it came from my ledger. Beneath the invoice, the financial exhibits waited, neat as surgical tools. Bianca looked up, voice trembling with fury. You planned this to humiliate me. I planned a gala, I said. You humiliated yourself by assuming you were untouchable. She stepped closer to the stage, forcing a laugh that fooled no one. You always do this, Maren. You take things personally. We did not invite you because you make everything awkward. I held her gaze. You did not invite me because you needed me small. A ripple moved through the crowd, that delicious shift when spectators realize the script has changed. Victor cleared his throat, eyes fixed on the page. What is this? That, I said, is your foundation reporting. The Hartwell Heritage Circle has been filing creative math for years. Inflated costs, Ghost vendors. Donations that disappeared like manners in your dining room. Bianca snapped. You cannot prove anything. Elise tapped her tablet. The display wall changed again, showing a series of invoices and transfer logs, each stamped with dates and authorization signatures. Bianca's name appeared more than once. The room exhaled in a wave of whispers. Bianca looked around, desperate for allies. This is a private matter. I tilted my head. No, this is a public gala. You invited donors. You asked them to trust you. Trust requires receipts. Bianca's lips parted, searching for a comeback. You think you are better because you own a building? I smiled slightly. I think I am better because I built what you pretend to be. Victor finally lifted his eyes to me. His voice was smaller than I remembered. Maren, why did you not tell us? I answered with the calm that comes from long practice. You did not ask. Bianca hissed. You are doing this out of spite. No, I said, stepping closer to the edge of the stage. I am doing this out of balance. Then I delivered the line I had carried for years, polished until it could cut. Everything you have is because people believed you. Do not mistake belief for earned worth. Bianca froze, realizing her own phrasing had come home wearing my name. And the room, finally, learned who had been hosting them all along. After the reveal, the gala did not end. It mutated. The music continued, softer now, as if the brass ensemble could sense the tension and chose restraint. Guests still held drinks, but fewer people drank. Donors clustered in tight groups, whispering with the urgency of social survival. Bianca moved like a furious statue, smiling at strangers while her eyes searched for an exit that did not exist. Victor wandered near the edge of the crowd, folio still in hand, reading and rereading as if repetition could change the truth. I let the room simmer. Revenge does not need fireworks when it has structure. An hour later, I moved to the concierge desk, where staff stood ready with room keys and updated assignments. Bianca had booked an entire wing for her inner circle, the kind of accommodation that says, I deserve space more than you deserve air. Rafe joined me, quietly amused. Your changes are in place. Good, I said. Proceed. Bianca approached first, chin lifted, gown immaculate, pride struggling to keep its balance. She slid her hand across the counter. Key for the Hartwell penthouse. The concierge offered a sleek envelope. Ms. Hart, your accommodations have been adjusted due to unanticipated VIP arrivals. Bianca opened the envelope, eyes narrowing. This is a standard suite. Yes, the concierge replied smoothly. In the garden level. Bianca's smile cracked. Garden level has no skyline view. It has a lovely view of accountability, I said. She spun toward me, anger flaring. You are petty. I am precise, I answered. Bianca leaned closer, voice low. Do you know what you are doing to me? I met her eyes. I am returning what you handed me for years. Only now, it comes with itemization. She hissed. This will ruin the foundation. I shrugged. Then it was fragile. Real work survives sunlight. She tried for a laugh, but it came out thin. You are obsessed with control. I leaned in slightly, tone almost kind. No, Bianca. I am obsessed with consequences. She stormed away, clutching her envelope like it was an insult in paper form. Next came the board treasurer, a man who had once suggested I should be grateful for Bianca tolerance. He approached with a stiff smile. The concierge handed him a folder. Your meeting is scheduled early morning in conference room Lumen. He blinked. Meeting? I stepped forward. Our compliance team will help you understand the exhibits in your folio. Think of it as continuing education. His face tightened. This is unnecessary. It is overdue, I said. Victor approached last, slower, shoulders heavier. He did not ask for a key. He simply held out the folio, as if it were a weight he could not carry alone. Maren, he said, voice rough. I did not know. I watched him carefully, waiting for the familiar pivot into excuses. He swallowed. No, that is not true. I chose not to know. Bianca was loud, and you were quiet, and I pretended quiet meant you had nothing to say. I did not soften. Softness had been my default for too long. You let her rewrite me, I said. You laughed while she did it. Victor flinched. I was wrong. The words hung there, plain and fragile. He added, I thought protecting the family image mattered. I looked past him to the crowd still whispering, still watching. You protected Bianca's image. You sacrificed me for convenience. His eyes glistened, but he held my gaze. What do you want from me? I considered the question. For years, I had wanted an apology, a defense, a moment of recognition. But standing in the atrium I owned, watching the family that dismissed me finally feel small, I wanted something simpler. I want you to stop asking for a version of me that fits your comfort, I said. I am not here to be forgiven. I am here to be real. Victor nodded slowly, like the motion hurt. Can we talk later? I answered honestly. Maybe. He turned away, carrying his regret like luggage he had packed too late. Elise approached, quiet triumph in her posture. Press is outside. They heard something happened. I smiled, faint and sharp. Tell them the truth. A charity gala became a lesson in governance. Elise glanced toward Bianca, who was attempting to charm a donor with hands that shook slightly. And Bianca? I looked at my sister, radiant and unraveling. I am not destroying her, I said. I am letting her meet herself. Because the best revenge is not rage. It is clarity, delivered in a room you own. The atrium emptied late evening, but the consequences stayed. From the penthouse level, I watched the city glow through the glass ceiling. Lights reflected in every polished surface Bianca had tried to claim. The quiet felt earned. Elise sat nearby with a laptop open, tracking headlines and legal notifications. Traffic to Oraline sites is spiking, she said. People are searching your name. They are also searching Hartwell Heritage Circle audit. I exhaled slowly. Good. Let curiosity do what politeness refused. My phone buzzed. Bianca. I stared at the screen, then set the phone down without answering. Silence can be a boundary. It can also be a mirror. An hour later, another notification appeared. Victor. This time it was not a call. It was a message with a photo attached. An envelope. Handwritten. My name on the front. Elise glanced up. Courier dropped it downstairs. Security scanned it. I opened the envelope carefully and unfolded the letter. Maren, I do not have a speech for this. I have excuses, but I am tired of feeding them. I watched Bianca cut you down because it made the room easier for me. I told myself you were strong enough to handle it. That was not praise. That was neglect dressed as faith. I should have defended you when you were young. I should have asked what you were building when you were older. I should not have needed a gala to understand you. I am sorry. Not for being surprised by your success, but for being blind to your effort. If you ever decide there is room for a conversation, I will show up without pride. If you do not, I will accept that too. Victor. I read it twice. Then I folded it and placed it in the drawer of the desk, not locked away, not displayed, just stored like something that might matter if handled carefully. Elise watched my face. How do you feel? I considered the question, then answered with the truth that tasted like fresh air. Finished, I said. My phone buzzed again. This time it was not Bianca. It was a message from Rafe. Compliance team confirms. 2 board members resigned. Donors are requesting refunds. Bianca is asking for a private meeting. Elise leaned forward. Do you want to meet her? I looked out at the city. Somewhere down there, Bianca was still trying to find a narrative where she was the victim and I was the inconvenience. I will meet her, I said. But not here. Elise frowned. Where? I smiled. In our training center. Elise laughed, delighted. You are ruthless. I am educational, I replied. Early morning, Bianca arrived at the Oraline training facility, the kind of place built for real work. Clean lines, bright rooms, no velvet to hide behind. She walked in wearing oversized sunglasses and a smile that could not commit. She stopped when she saw the sign over the reception desk. Oraline Hospitality Collective Service Standards and Ethics Program. Bianca stared at it as if it were written in a foreign language. I approached calmly. Welcome. She pulled off her sunglasses, eyes sharp with resentment. You are enjoying this. I am ensuring you understand it, I said. She crossed her arms. So what now, Maren? You destroy me and move on? I tilted my head. No. I gave donors the truth. The law will handle the rest. But you and I have unfinished business. Bianca scoffed. You want an apology? I looked at her, then shook my head. I want something more valuable. Her eyes narrowed. What? I handed her a folder. Not black, not dramatic. Plain. Practical. On the front, application for employment. Bianca stared, stunned. This is insulting. This is reality, I said. If you want to rebuild anything, start with earning. Her mouth opened, then closed. For once, she had no rehearsed line. I leaned in slightly, voice steady. You told me people pitied me. You were wrong. People invested in me because I delivered. If you want a life that holds, stop performing and start producing. Bianca's face twisted with anger, then something quieter, something unfamiliar. Fear. I stepped back. The session begins an hour later. You can attend, or you can leave. Either way, the era of pretending is over. She stood still, folder in hand, as if paper could weigh more than pride. I turned toward the hallway, already moving on. Because revenge is not about watching someone fall. It is about building a world where they cannot deny who built the floor beneath them.